You know, a lot of people swear by the Toyota Tacoma, which is a really good truck, but if you notice the prices of those, they're pretty high, and they are really overpriced in the used car market. I've noticed that they sell for an extreme higher price. And they're good. I'm not saying they're not good. They're really good trucks, but you know, I was looking at this. These have a few engineering issues, and I'm going to talk about them. But these Frontier is not a bad little truck, and quite a bit less money. But there are some issues with them. I'll talk about those things. You know, these don't have a CVT, so that's one of the things about Nissan that's one of their big faux pas. I think is the CVT transmission, and these don't have that. The issues that they do have are rear axle seals and bearings. So that's one of the issues. This truck here, just did some brakes on it for a young lady who's well, actually she's kind of family. So I did some brakes on it for her, and she got quotes for just insane amounts of money. And I was like, oh my God, just bring it over, I'll do them. Took me a couple hours, but then when I was doing them, I saw there was an axle seal that went bad. So, and I started looking up issues on that, and of course it's systemic. It's a Nissan thing. It's an engineering issue. The wheel bearings and axle design is not that great in the rear, but that's not a huge problem. Now, I don't know how the Toyota lasts as far as that goes. I know that they're really good trucks, but is it worth paying, $5,000 more or $6,000 more for a Toyota over one of these? Honestly, they have a good motor in these. The engine's not bad. Transmissions, because it's not a CVT. Nissan used to make great transmissions back in the 80s. They used to have issues on some of their cars. I'm trying to think of the model. It was the early Sentras and stuff like that had issues where they would have a leaky transmission. But as far as the transmission lasting, it was fine. They had a seam that was between the case halves, and it was in the early Sentras and stuff like that had a seam between the case halves on the transmission that would leak. And we used to repair it from the outside. We just clean it, take the trans oil out of it, clean it, let it get nice and dry and clean, and then we would just make silicone. It was coated from the outside, and it was a long-lasting repair. We used a special product. The best one is if you have one of those older cars. It used to be the Nissan, I think it was a Sentra, I believe, the cheaper line car, front-wheel drive. And that was the only issue that car had. It was, once you fix that, it was like pretty good car. Nissan made good cars back in the 80s and 90s, early 90s, and then they went to CVT, and it really kind of put them in a bad place. So, but as far as these go, these aren't too bad. If you're looking for a pickup truck and you're trying to save a few bucks, and you've looked at Toyotas and you're going, holy crap, 200,000 miles, and you want how much? Is it really worth it? Well, you can get one of these 130,000 miles, probably about the same price or less, $5,000-$6,000 less. So anyway, these aren't too bad. They have a few, like I said, a few catch 22s in them, but the design, as far as I'm concerned, underneath the hood isn't bad. It does have a timing chain, so one of the issues on some of them, check the year, make, model. I'm not sure when they changed the timing chains on these, or if they always had timing chains. But check underneath the hood. This is 2018, so not a bad vehicle. I looked it over pretty good, and other than the issues I looked at with the rear axle, just like Dodge has that same problem. If you look at Dodge trucks, Dodge has systemic problems with the rear axle and rear axle bearings, rear axle seals, and probably quite a bit worse than even these are. So if you're looking at a used truck, I think these things are really not a bad buy. I'll talk to you on the next one. Hopefully it helps you if you're looking for something.